coming up on the Suze Orman Show. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, so love, 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 love is in the air. But when it comes to your money, that just might be your downfall. Also,
I think it's perfect timing to purchase a house, whereas we can get married anytime.
we just caught you, boyfriend. You were just caught.
He's always stalling.
And you asked me, can I afford it?
I want to buy a trip to Disney World with my boyfriend in celebration of Valentine.
How are you going to pay for this when it's $2,500? You don't have that money in liquid. Hi, everybody. I'm Suze Orman, and you are watching the Suze Orman Show. Love is in the air. Love, love, love. Because why? Valentine's Day is coming this Thursday. So it's this Thursday, Valentine's Day, that you will absolutely go and buy flowers, bring chocolates, and show those that you love how much you love them, especially your spouse and or life partner. Because this is a day that we just celebrate the love that we have for each other. But one has to ask the question, in a relationship, in a seriously committed relationship, is love enough? Is love enough to keep you two together forever? And I'm here to tell you, I don't think so. Now, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I think love is fabulous. But you know what I think is even more important, especially when it comes to money, is like. And I think love can literally get in the way of having a healthy financial relationship. Here's what I mean by that. Because you love each other so much, you don't want to hurt each other. You don't want to tell each other the truth. You want to see everything as if it's going to be fine no matter what happens. So you look at your husband or your life partner or your wife, whatever it may be, your spouse, and you see him or her doing things that really are irritating you, that you know aren't right, that they're not what they're supposed to be doing, but because you don't want to hurt them, because you love them, you just let them do it, because you don't want to argue with them. You want to stay in the love mode. But then year passes and another year passes, and then you have more credit card debt and you don't have anything in savings and your retirement isn't where it should be. And you know this is happening. You see him or her spending money that they shouldn't be spending. They're not saving what you want them to save, but you don't say anything because you love them. But when you really look at it, you don't like their financial behavior. And it is the lack of like that will eventually, as time goes on, start to really eat at you as this relationship goes on. And when it eats at you, little by little, it starts to pull the relationship apart, and then you end up in divorce. So here's what I want to say on this Valentine's Day to be on Thursday. It doesn't have to end up in divorce. It could end up where you stay together forever. And the way that you stay together forever is that you love and like each other enough that you always tell each other the truth about how you're feeling. Don't pretend that you're powerless and it's okay, whatever he or she wants to do. Take your power. Be who you're meant to be. Tell them what is true for you inside. And if you could do that, oh, I have a prediction that this will be one of many Valentine's Day that you celebrate into the future because you will love and like the person that you're with. Let's go to MJ in Connecticut. Sweetheart, what do you need to know tonight?
Hi, Susie. I am a 48-year-old divorced single mom. My son is getting a little older, and I'm ready to get back into the dating world. I had a very financially savvy mom who set some good examples, and I have always listened to your advice. The men I've dated don't seem to be on the same page as me financially. One recently funded his car out of a 401k. I'm curious, is it too much to ask to meet financially savvy, stable adults?
No.
Not necessarily a millionaire, but...
Yeah, you know what I find interesting about your question, more than it's obviously not, you know, absurd to ask to meet somebody who's financially responsible, especially at the age of 48. If they don't have it by 48, I'm not sure they're ever going to have it, to tell you the truth. But what's really interesting is, why are you attracting men to you that are so financially irresponsible?
I don't know.
That's what you need to figure out, because there's something that you're putting out there that's attracting somebody to you that you don't want to be with. So the real question is, are you sure that you want to be with somebody right now? Or is it just possible you want to date, have fun, but you do not want to get back involved, really? So you're literally attracting people to you that you're never going to go very far with. Does that make sense?
It does.
So,
I hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah, that's what I think you're doing. Mimi in New York, you are on the Suze Orman Show.
Hi, Susie. Thank you so much for speaking to me.
Anytime.
So basically, my boyfriend and I are turning 30 in less than a year, and something about turning 30 makes us feel a lot of pressure to meet a number of sort of American dream milestones. We want to have a wedding. We're trying to pay off our college loans. We want to buy a home. We want to start a family. We want to save for retirement. It just feels like a laundry list. And it seems like our friends who are able to pull this off in a timely fashion have a lot of financial support from their families, where we do not. So my question is, how do we make this happen before we're 50?
By understanding that there is a lot of time between 30 and 50. So you, but truthfully, you have to set things up according to your priorities. So what is the most important thing to do? So if you try to do everything at once, everything will come crashing down at you at once as well. So you have to make sure that there's enough financial foundation under what you're doing so it can hold up all of these things that you want to put on top of it. So you also have to make choices. Like if you want to buy a home and you also want to have a wedding, well, can you have a wedding that's really inexpensive and take the money that you would have spent on the wedding and use that for the down payment on the home? Then all of a sudden you got two things done. Do you see?
Right.
So
that's what we're trying to finagle.
All right, and that's what you need to do. It's all about choices. It's all about what you do when you do it. And here's the most important thing that I'm about to tell you. Stop comparing yourself to anybody else. Because I'm here to tell you, when you look at somebody else's life and everything that they do, what you aren't seeing is really the true finances behind the illusion of what you are seeing. And if they're able to do things because their parents have helped them out, there is going to come a day when they aren't probably going to get the help from their parents, and they're not going to really know how to stand on their own 2 feet. Now, maybe yes, maybe no. But the greatest gift you could give yourself is stop comparing yourself to others and just look at each other and go, are we doing the best we can? Yes. Are we living below our means? Yes. Are we getting as much pleasure out of saving as you do spending? Yes. You know, do we buy needs versus wants? Yes. If you do that, you'll be fine no matter what. Angela in California, do you live in the City of Angels, my dear Angela?
No, I don't. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, you do? All right, sweetheart. I have a home there, too. I love it there. Anyway, what's your question?
Well, I have really good credit, but my boyfriend of over 2 years does not. He was married, and he and his wife at the time didn't manage their finances well. So he has no credit cards or even a bank account. My question is, should I add him to one of my credit cards to help improve his credit?
How long has he been your boyfriend? 2 years?
Yes.
Yes. And over the 2 years that you've been with him, does he exhibit responsible financial behavior?
He does. He only uses cash, so he can't charge anything. But he just doesn't have much money to save, and he doesn't have any credit.
So normally I would say, You know, so if you put him on all of your credit cards, your credit score will become his credit score, and that's one way to do it. I think in this particular situation, I don't know why I'm actually going this way with you. I think it would be better off for him to build his own credit on his own, because I don't want you, after just 2 years, to be getting in the habit of rescuing your boyfriend, all right?
Okay.
So I would have him get a secured credit card. He can do it at a credit union. There's nothing wrong with that. Put a certain amount of money in it. I think it will be $500 or something like that. And then use that card where he buys things and has to pay it off in full at the end of the month. The $500 is just going to stay there. They're not going to use it. And if he doesn't pay it off in full, he will have to pay interest. So let him start building his credit that way. Don't save him. Not yet. Not now. Not here.
I think it's perfect timing to purchase a house, whereas we can get married anytime.
What makes you think you can afford a house right now?
Oh.
Well, not necessarily right now.
We just caught you, boyfriend. You were just caught.
He's always stalling. He's always stalling.
And later, when wanting something, ask me, can I afford it?
My wife and I want to upgrade our current espresso setup, and we expect this new machine to really take us to coffee nirvana.
You spend $3,500 on this machine. Does it really, in the long run, save you money? But this is a situation that I have to tell you I'm very confused about. So you're going to have some good answers for me, both of you. Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about love and money tonight. My one-on-one is with a couple from Los Angeles. Ray and Teresa have been together for 7 years. Ray is 30 and is a small business owner. Teresa works in the financial aid office at a state university, and she's halfway through her master's in education. Ray and Teresa have talked about marriage for a long time now. Teresa has been patient while Ray's been busy building his business. Now, Ray says he'll soon have a down payment for either a ring and wedding or a house. And he is not sure which is the better move. So he wrote to me. Now, Ray, I need you to explain this either-or situation to me. What's up, boyfriend?
Actually, I'm pretty sure it's the house, but the situation is, it's been a long time, and she's been pretty patient with me in terms of getting married. And right now, since I kind of started my business and things are, going pretty well, we're at that point to figure out what we should do. Right now, for me, I'm more geared towards purchasing a home because I feel like the market is pretty good, the interest rates are lower, and I can qualify for a pretty low interest rate. So on that side, it's more towards timing. I think it's perfect timing to purchase a house, whereas we can get married anytime.
Yeah. And Teresa, has he been telling you for 7 years now that we could get married anytime? Like, how soon after you met him did you know that the two of you wanted to get married?
We talked about marriage actually probably in the first year. And
the first year came, and there was something else he needed to do. And the second year came, and there was something else he needed to do. And 3 years...
I actually warned her. I forewarned. I lay it all on the table for her, though. So I made sure to say, look, this might happen. Yes. Marriage isn't the most important because I think being together and...
Yeah, we knew we were going to get married. I think we were going to marry each other. We are going to marry each other, but it was timing. We were still young. We still had things that we needed to do.
But that's not where you are right now. When you hear Ray say to you that buying a house now is more important to him than having a wedding for the two of you, what does that do to your heart?
Well, I know who I'm dating, and so it doesn't surprise me at all. But and I kind of see where he's coming from as far as purchasing a house.
And Ray, what makes you think you can afford a house right now?
Oh.
Well, not necessarily right now, but I think at least 1 or 2 years down the line.
Stop.
I generally like to plan.
Stop. You just said
he's waiting.
to me.
He's pushing up more time.
Thank you, Teresa. You just said to me that right now
Stalling.
is a good time to buy a house. You just said to me that right now interest rates are low. 2 years from now may not be a good time to buy a house. 2 years from now, interest rates
It may not be, but the chances are, I'd rather be prepared. And the chances are, I mean,
we just caught you, boyfriend. You were just caught.
He's always stalling.
No.
He's always stalling.
Yeah, so you
like to plan-
do
I
you
like to plan
understand
ahead.
that you're stalling? Because and she's right. Because what you said here, right, just makes no sense to me. So I'm going to just continue here. So, all right, you're going to postpone getting married to buy this house that you currently cannot afford on any level right now, just so you know. You don't have the down payment. You don't have a down payment for a $450,000 house.
But if I were to purchase a ring, that's even more in the hole, don't you think?
All right, but you're saying that you don't even want to get her an engagement ring, a little one, because it's a waste of money now to get her an engagement ring because you're just going to have to upgrade later on.
That is true.
Now,
Yes.
Teresa, did you ever tell him that you wanted to upgrade, or wouldn't you just be happy with the little ring?
No, I never told him that of anything about upgrading. I would be happy with anything, and he knows that.
All right, now another forestalling. Okay, so you keep coming up with all of these things. Now, want to know what really drives me bats? I'm looking at this, and you have a considerable amount, $46,000 of student loans that are in deferment. Is that correct?
Me?
Yes?
Yes.
Yes. You have $46,000 of loans that are in deferment, and you keep taking classes. And the reason that you say in your paperwork that you are taking classes is to continue to defer your student loans.
Sure, and to further my education. I can.
All right. So Teresa,
yes.
here's what you need to get. You may be looking, and Ray, I say this with the utmost of respect to you, really, because I think the two of you are adorable together. But you are doing and making some of the biggest mistakes I have ever seen with money. You are not that savvy with money, in my opinion. You think you are smarter with money than you are. But anybody who is deferring student loans when student loans are not dischargeable in bankruptcy, why are you doing that? And then you write in here, wait before you say anything, then you write in here that you want to buy a home, let the equity build in the home, and take the equity out of the home to finance a wedding and the ring, which was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. When I first read your thing, I called up my producers and I screamed at them for 1 hour. I said, this is impossible. It can't be. Somebody cannot be this ridiculous when it comes to money. Ray, it makes absolutely no sense financially speaking that you should assume that real estate is going to appreciate so fast that you're going to be able to get the equity out of a home when homes in Irvine are about $350 to $450. I have a rule: you should not buy a home unless you can put at least 20% down. You're not even close to a 20% down payment. And so to put 20% down and then wait till there's enough equity in that house to be able to take it out, you are not looking at 1 or 2 years from now until you can even afford to buy this house. You're looking at 4, 5, 6, 7 years from now if you're lucky. And you may not be lucky because we don't know. Real estate could crash again. Anything could happen again. So you will forever be postponing this wedding.
But what about the cost of the wedding? There's a cost to the wedding. It's not just necessarily the ring. So you have the cost of the wedding. which does not build any equity for sure. So I kind of have an issue with that.
But Teresa has it in her mind after 7 years that she wants a $35,000 wedding. But Teresa, look at him. It's going to make him sick to his stomach that entire night and day. Your husband-to-be is going to be miserable. So why then, Teresa, do you want to do that to him?
I just want it at a specific place, and darn that place for that high price tag, but...
All right, so then can your parents pay for that, Teresa?
No.
All right.
And neither can mine.
Yeah,
and
so we're paying for it.
All right, so here's the thing. If you really want to marry him and you really want him to be happy, knowing how he is, give up the place, give up the price tag on the wedding. And what will you get for $10,000? You will get a husband. If you continue to stick with a $35,000 price tag, what you're going to get is a boyfriend for the rest of your life. You choose, Teresa. You choose. So you both have things to do here. Got it?
Got it.
Sounds good.
All right, boyfriend, girlfriend.
It was much needed. Thank you.
Let me know what happens. Up next, you can't afford to miss. Can I afford it?
My husband and I are jazz musicians, and we're interested in buying a couple of custom archtop jazz guitars.
For $27,000. Also,
I want to buy a new 2012 Prius V hybrid for my sweetie. I love him so much, and I know it would make him very happy to have his first new car.
but only if it makes financial sense. What do you want to buy?
Custom archtop jazz guitars.
Trip to Disney World 2012 Prius V hybrid.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Can I Afford It segment. I'm going to try to fool you, this Can I Afford It segment. This is where you call in. You tell me what it is that you want to buy, and I tell you if you can afford it or not. Come on, play along with me. Are you ready? Eric, what do you want to buy?
Hi, Susie. Thanks for calling. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thanks. Did I call you?
You did.
All right, so thanks for calling. All right, no problem. All right. So, Eric, what do you want to buy?
Well, my wife and I love coffee. So after vacationing in Italy this past summer, my wife and I want to upgrade our current espresso setup. So we're looking at a new machine from Chris Coffee, who imports directly from Italy, and we expect this new machine to really take us to coffee nirvana. It's going to be fantastic.
So, but you know what confuses me about these coffee machines?
What's
Do you
that?
spend $3,500 on this machine? Then how much does it cost you for the coffee, for everything else? Does it really, in the long run, save you money?
You know, it's not so much about saving the money, it's more the convenience. You know, going to your local coffee shop, your Starbucks, $5 a cup, you know, when...
I personally wouldn't know about that because I've been making coffee at home now for the past 30 years, so I don't really know about that.
Okay.
I just kind of, you know, whatever. But anyway, show me the money.
All right, so if I look at the income, my wife and I bring home a little over $8,000 combined.
Yeah.
And that's take-home pay after 401 contributions.
Yes.
Our expenses are about $6,000. $4,000 of that is actual expenses, but that also includes $1,900 in savings expenses. So
Love that, yes.
We sock away money every month so that we can slide that into either retirement or investments accounts. When we talk about the debt picture, I'm looking at, I just refinanced, so I'm at a 20-year fixed mortgage at 4.12%, so I owe $240,000 on that. And if we look at my savings, I'm at $76K liquid. I've got $385K in investments, and then another $364K in retirement.
You know, Eric, you are 29 years of age, and I know, because I look at my tweets, there are people that are looking at this right now and going, how did this kid at 29 years of age have $364,000 in retirement, $385,000 in investments? Where'd you get this money? What would you tell them?
What really did it was back in college in 2005, against my better judgment at the time, I bought Apple stock. I bought it because I thought the iPod was the coolest thing and it was better than any Discman I ever had. And you know what the stock sells at now. So that kind of spurred me into the investment mindset. So you got to start early, and that's, I think, the takeaway for me and how I got to where I am now.
So, boyfriend, this one's very easy. You have been so approved. In fact, I don't think I've ever approved somebody twice. You're approved again. You drink that coffee, you keep doing what you're doing, and hats off to you, doll. Katie, what do you want to buy?
Hi, Susie. Thanks for having me on the show. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. What do you want to buy?
I want to buy a trip to Disney World with my boyfriend in celebration of Valentine.
Absolutely. I can see that. I've been to Disney World, Disneyland. I love it there. Show me the money.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we have a combined income of $1,040 a month.
Combined $1,040 per month. Combined. Okay, go on.
We're both students, and we live rent-free. Our expenses are $810 a month. That includes our bills and then other expenses. We have a combined $97,000 in student loan debt. That's deferred since we're both in school. And $2,500 of credit card debt.
Of course.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Of course, I'm going to say, and you have $1,900 in liquid. How are you going to pay for this when it's $2,500? You don't have that money in liquid. You have $1,900 liquid. You want to spend $2,500. How are you going to pay for it?
Well, we've been taking money out of every paycheck, and I've also been working odd jobs, doing babysitting, helping my mom out, that kind of thing.
And don't you think that money would be better off to pay down your credit card debt? You are so denied. You're in this financial small world that you are going through. You are not going to Disneyland. You do not have the money to do so. June, what do you want to buy?
Well, hi, Susie. Happy Valentine's Day to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, too. It's actually my 5th anniversary on Valentine's Day, so I'm having a good one.
Happy anniversary, sweetheart.
Thank
I won't
you.
ask you any more questions as what that means, but okay, go on. What do you want to buy?
My husband and I are jazz musicians, and we're interested in buying a couple of custom archtop jazz guitars. They're called Benedetto guitars, and
for $27,000. Do you make your living being a jazz musician?
Yes, we do. We're
You do.
probably paying 200 gigs this year, so it is what we do. It's how we got together. So.
And will these guitars for $27,000 produce more money for you in the long run?
More money than the current guitars we're
Yes.
using, do you mean? Well, I think that when you get a really high-quality instrument, it gives you an opportunity to, of course, jazz musicians don't make that much, we're not rock stars, but I think that, I would have to answer that question, yes.
All right, then, sweetheart, show me the money.
All right. Let's see. Our income is $6,650 a month,
Yeah.
including a rental income.
Yeah.
Our expenses are close to that at $6,550 free. We own our homes. We have no debt whatsoever.
Fabulous.
We have slightly over $700,000 in investments and $300,000 in liquid savings. And, that's the money there.
That's the money. So if anything happened, however, all I really have is $1 million, and that's only going to generate $30,000 or $40,000 a year of income. So we'll be short tremendously in income. So even though it looks like you have a lot of money, the truth of the matter is you're denied, because I'm afraid if something happens to either one of you, you're going to be short on the amount of money that you need just to even pay your bills. And then we start cutting into things, and interest rates are so low. So I hope that tune kind of plays softly in your heart. All right, Kimberly, what do you want to buy?
Hi, Susie. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you, sweetheart. What do you want to buy?
Well, I'm so excited to talk to you. I've been watching your show for years, and now my husband and I watch your show together every week.
I love that. I call it Date Night with Susie. But what do you want to buy?
I want to buy a new 2012 Prius V hybrid for my sweetie. We just got married in June and saved our money by getting married at the courthouse and hosting a party at our house. So we've been saving up our pennies.
Oh, see, I love that. That's how one should get married. Courthouse, saving up the money. That's how I got married, just so you know. But go on.
So my husband currently drives an SUV, and he's jealous of my great gas mileage since I already drive a Prius. And with the new Prius V, we'd be saving about $100 a month in fuel costs. but I really want to get this for him because I love him so much, and I know it would make him very happy to have his first new car.
But only if it makes financial sense. Show me the money.
Okay, so our monthly combined income is $6,134.
Yep.
Our expenses are $5,793, but that includes $1,883 for monthly savings.
Yeah.
So debt, we have $198,000 on a 30-year fixed mortgage and $11,000 in my student loans.
Yeah.
Then for savings, right now we have $29,000 liquid, $27,000 in investments, and over $96,000 in retirement.
And how are you going to pay for this?
Well, we're going to trade in his current SUV.
Yes.
So when it's all said and done, it'll probably be financing about $23,000.
And
We've
so
already been, sorry.
And for $23,000 over, how many years are you going to pay for this?
Well, we've been pre-approved by our local credit union for like 1.99% over 6 years.
Yep.
But the local dealership is running a special to get 0% for 5 years.
I'm denying you. Please listen closely to me why I'm doing so. You are cutting it too close. These years at 29, 30 years, these are the years that rather than saving money on gas or whatever, I need this money to go into retirement and save it so it can compound so you can have hundreds of thousands and millions later on. And I'm just afraid if something happened to one of you, whatever, I don't have enough of a cushion. You know, you have $29,000 in emergency funds and all of a sudden you start to do your expenses and things start to go wrong. You just don't quite have enough. I'm so sorry, girlfriend. I just wouldn't do it if I were you. Want to be part of the Can I Afford It segment? All you have to do is go to my website, SuzeOrman.com, and you will find the information that you need to know there to come and play with me right here. And take a look, everybody. For those of you who appear on air with me, we will send you a T-shirt. An approved if I approved you, and a denied if I denied you. Next, I tackle trending topics in Ask Suze. It is possible and even probable that when you go to apply for a job, that your potential employer will do a credit check on you. Welcome back, everybody. We have now moved into the control room here at CNBC headquarters. So many ways that you can reach me. Take a look at your screen. You can send in an email. You can join me on Facebook. If you want your question asked and answered on air, all you have to do is in front of your tweet, put hashtag Ask Suze, and it will come right here into the control room. And if we choose it, I will answer it on air for you. So let's see what's trending right now. All right, we have at NorCal, Sammy. I've been unemployed for 6 months, been looking for a job every day, but I feel the credit check is against me. What should I do? For those of you who don't know what NorCal Sammy is talking about, here's what you need to know. It is possible and even probable that when you go to apply for a job, that your potential employer will do a credit check on you, meaning they will look at your credit reports. If they don't like what they see, if you've been late with payments, they then might determine that, therefore, you will not make a good employee. Because if you're not good with your own money, maybe you're not going to be good with theirs, so to speak, in terms of them paying you for a job. So NorCal Sammy, here's what I would do. If you know that your credit report is not good, if you know why it's not good, when you go and you interview for a job, I have advised now for the past year or two, why don't you just be upfront about it and say to your employer or potential employer, you know, when you look at my credit report, you're going to see I was late, I was irresponsible, all of these things. I get that, but these are the reasons why. I'm no longer like that. I'm doing this to help myself. Now, your employer, hopefully your new employer, will look at you and maybe think, I'd rather hire somebody who's honest than's good with money. It might then work for you. Give that a try, my dear. You never know. But in the meantime, work on your credit. All right, let's go to webcam now. We have Lauren come to us from Kansas. Girlfriend, what can I do for you?
Hi, Suze. I love your show.
Thank you.
Since I watch your show a lot, I've noticed you talk about life insurance quite a bit and how important it is. I'm wondering if I need life insurance in my situation. My husband's in the military, so he has $500,000 of coverage. And really, he's the breadwinner. Most of our income comes from him. So he wouldn't be in trouble without me, and we're not going to have any kids. So do I still need life insurance coverage, and how much?
So there's really two questions here. Number one, should you have life insurance, and does your husband have enough life insurance? So if your husband is not going to be financially dependent on you, all of a sudden you are not here, and it will not affect him whatsoever, you do not need life insurance. However, the truth of the matter is, how old are you right now?
26.
At 26, you could get $1 million for like $25 a month, $15 a month. So does it really matter that? I mean, so maybe you even wanted just to give him more of a cushion. Do you see what I mean? Because here's the thing. He has life insurance. You don't. Everything's okay. But what if you're in a car together, you're killed, he's alive, but he's injured, and he can't be in the military anymore. He can't do it. And there isn't enough money for him to be taken care of because you're not around anymore. So for a little amount of money, why not protect him for all the what ifs of life?
Okay.
All right. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right. So do you need it really? No, if everything goes according to plan. But the truth of the matter is, why not, just in case some absurd thing happens? Next, he has $500,000. He dies. You get that $500,000. Now, will $20,000 a year allow you to continue to live your lifestyle? Because that's about what $500,000 will give you in income. Is that enough life insurance on him?
Maybe not.
Maybe not. So you need to look into term insurance on him as well. All right, girlfriend, now you know. Let's go back to the studio, and here's what's coming up next. Amy asked me, Susie,
how are we doing?
So, how do I think you are doing? Are you ready for this grade?
I'm ready, Susie.
Welcome back to the Suze Orman Show.
Hi, Susie. My husband and I are in our 30s with 3 young, beautiful daughters. I think we're saving enough. However, my husband is frugal and worries that we're not even close. Our goal is to retire when I'm 62 and he's 60. We want to have enough money to visit our kids wherever they live and not become a burden to them. Susie, how are we doing?
My dear Amy.
Hi, Susie.
Hi, Amy. So, did I hear that right? You want to retire when you're how old?
62.
And your husband is 60, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right. So that is 26 years from now.
Yes.
So if you were going to give yourself a grade, Miss Spender, what grade would you give yourself in terms of, in 26 years, will you and your husband be able to retire, travel, have fun, and do everything else you want to do?
Well, I think I would give ourselves a B.
All right, so let's take a look at the money here. And, I will give you my grade, and I hope you're sitting down for it. Okay. All right, good. They have currently $180,000 in retirement, almost $78,000 in an emergency fund, $8,700 in investments. Their home is currently worth $330,000. They have mortgage debt on that home, however, of $318,000. They have a net worth, really, when you put it all together, of only $277,502. Now let's see your expenses in comparison to your income. Right now, you do have after-tax income of $8,200 a month. Your monthly expenses are $6,400 a month. You are saving about $1,300 a month, and you still have another $464 a month that you could do something with.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how do I think you are doing? Are you ready for this grade?
I'm ready, Susie.
I have given you an A+++++.
Really?
Now, why? Here's what's interesting. When I told my executive producer, Amy, that there's nothing wrong with you, she said, really? You got to find something wrong here, Susie. Are they doing everything perfectly? And in fact, you are. So let me tell everybody what you're really doing that's so perfect, because you're going to be more than fine. But first, let's just show everybody this. you have a will, you're in the process of getting a trust. You have very high FICO scores. Some of them are in the 800s. You're actually in line to have your house paid off in just 14 years. Remember, you don't want to retire till you're till 26 years from now. That's going to give you an extra $2,400 a month, which is what you're paying towards your house right now, in order to save. You are fully funding, both of you, your Roth IRAs. You are contributing $1,341 a month in your 401k plans. So you are doing everything. You have the right amount of insurance. You have a 30-year level term, and it just goes on and on like that. So you are doing everything that you should be doing. Up next, one more thing that I want you to know. Is it more important that you get this fairy tale wedding, but your spouse is sitting there thinking, oh my God, we can't afford this? Welcome back to the Suze Orman Show. Well, yes, we're almost done with the Suze Orman Show this hour. But before we go, there is still one more thing that I want you to know. I want to talk about weddings. I want to talk about the cost of weddings. You know, my earlier guests tonight were Ray and Teresa. Teresa has it in her mind that she wants a $35,000 wedding. And Ray, on the other hand, when you say that, you can see it makes him cringe. So I think it's really important, especially if you're coming together, given that Valentine's Day is just a few days from now, and you want to come together in love, and you really want to get married. And one of you has this image of the wedding that you really want to have, and the other just can't go there. And you two are the ones that are going to have to pay for it. I really think it's time that the one that has this image about the wedding and all this money that it's going to cost really take into serious consideration how your spouse-to-be is going to feel on that day. And is it more important that you get this fairy tale wedding, but your spouse is sitting there thinking, oh my God, we can't afford this. Why did we spend this kind of money? You want his or her energy and thoughts on this being the greatest day for them as well. So I just want you to consider that weddings are weddings, that you don't have to get caught up in this magnificent wedding. Can you just get caught up in the magnificent idea that both of you can compromise and that both of you can come together? And so when you both say, I do, that hopefully you never get to the point of where you're saying, I wish I hadn't. Now you know. So until next week, there's really only one thing that I want you to remember when it comes to your money, and that's people first, then money, then things. KT, I love you so very, very much. You are my one and only Valentine. Now, all of you, stay safe.